Have a cup of tea with us. Maybe I start with the importance of relationships and what we say in Zhineng Qigong and Hunan Qi therapy. We emphasize actually what we call healthy relationships. So the level of vibrant health you experience by yourself can be measured actually by the healthy relationships you are fostering in your environment. That can be relationships, obviously, you have with yourselves, your own relationship with nature, with the universe, and inside your inner world, what we call the true self. But of course, also relationships with other living beings, with human beings, with colleagues and neighbors, and family members, your partner, your spouse, strangers. And then obviously the relationship you have with being able to integrate your physical life, your body, mind, your soul, your life intention, is that in harmony? So the more you are aiming to have this in harmony and balance, the more healthier you are. So how can the Qi practice now support this process? First of all, when you practice the Qin and Qigong practices, and even if it's simple ones like La Qi or the Hold Qi Up, Hold Qi Down or the Qi squats, any kind of practice which helps you to go inward. Because Dr. Pang Ming defines the Qigong practice as a practice to bring your consciousness home, back to inside of your inner world, back home to your mind, actually. So in that moment, you're starting to foster that practice, you will find that you become more aware, of who you are, of what is important for you. You're more respectful, towards your own needs and needs of others. And you come to the conclusion that human beings are relationship beings. Human beings without relationships would be utterly sad and lonely and probably very ill. So then you come maybe at a later stage to the conclusion, okay, if relationships are important, what about my relationships? Are they really nourishing? Are they supporting me in my own growth? Am I supportive to others? So you go a bit like, how do you actually manage your relationships? And in this awareness, you come to the conclusion that actually everything in the relationship is really interacting with each other, balancing each other. It's important for your own growth also to be having relationships which support you in that. So then you might come to the conclusion, let's look at my relationships. At least that's what I've done. I've really looked at my relationships and identified those who have not been healthy and gave my best to improve them. And of course, there will be maybe colleagues or partners, friends, or family members where we come to the conclusion whatever we do, the best we give, we are maybe helping it to improve, but it's not really 100% there where we believe it could be. But giving already the best and forgiving then myself or others that we are not, managing to have it 100% on a healthy status. Maybe also sometimes I withdraw myself from certain relationships. Like, I would not suggest if a relationship is very toxic and you've given your best to create it in a healthy state, that you stay in that relationship. No, maybe then it's time to move on, but still you can bless the relationship, you can bless the person because we are human beings. We have our own personality. With Zhineng Qigong, when you practice on a regular basis, you will find that you discover more what is true to you. So what we call true self compared to personality self is more, let's say, your soul expressing yourself in the physical existence. And obviously, and your heart, speaks more than your beliefs or habits or patterns. You speak more from your heart. But if you've tried your best and the relationship stays toxic, then move on and, create new relationships with like-minded people who are, believing in you, who are respecting you. You can, bring in your values. And, if certain people don't match these values, then maybe it's time to move on. But do it with an open heart and with forgiveness inside of you because you've given your best. So there should not be like any negative regret or burden or something. And you can also heal relationships with loved ones who passed on. I've done that too. I had an unresolved issue with one of my grandmothers, and when I realized that, she already passed on. But I came to the conclusion I still need to meditate on it and really, be honest to myself. What was my contribution? That at that time we did not resolve it. So I resolved it. That's also what Marcel is inviting us. Resolved it in the, let's say, in the university T field, in the information field. And I felt with the meditations I did that I'm more in harmony and that this energy of forgiveness was really healing that relationship. In that way, that's really important. The chi practice invites us to be aware of it because it is, according to Zhineng Qigong, really one of three pillars of what we call true health. So if we pay more attention to it and really do this as a reflection process, we use our practice to then nourish ourselves, make ourselves stronger. We have more chi, and then we have also more awareness. We increase our awareness, how important healthy relationships are to keep our health. Or if we are having a health challenge, then for sure I would invite anybody to be honest. And then once you have improved your relationships to a healthy state, keep them healthy and in balance. So even with strangers, people you meet, try to really have a good relationship so that it reflects then in your own life. It's actually a bit you serve humanity because I mean, imagine everybody would have healthy relationship. That doesn't mean we agree with each other on all the subjects, right? But we keep it healthy and working and functionable and acknowledging, appreciating and respecting each other's perspectives and way of beings or actions or whatever purposes, intentions we have in our life. We are very unique in expressions of ourselves, each one of us. So we cannot expect that everybody is the same. No, that would be even maybe boring. So, but we can work on ourselves to keep the relationships healthy so that we serve our own health and well-being, uplift our life quality. We are more happier, and in this way, we are actually more in service for others. So sometimes I also hear people saying, oh, but if I do my chi practice, if I do my meditation, if I do this, that, isn't that selfish? I focus on myself. And actually, Qin and Qigong, Hunan Chi therapy invites us to change that perspective and understand the more you take good care of yourself, that's a relationship too. You have a good relationship with yourself. You nourish your physical strength, your emotional balance, your mental clarity and focus, ability to be creative and concentrate well. You serve others. Then you can be in much better service to anybody who approaches you and has certain needs you'd like to maybe help with. Obviously, we are almost always in group environments. When you give retreats, then you have a group of people, often coming from different places in the world, coming together with similar intentions. All of the participants have their heart open to grow, to evolve, to improve either their health or other areas in their life. So I think that information then in the Chi field is very important, that you actually have a group intention. And how it then affects the collective is that actually each one of us individually in that group environment, in let's say the retreat environment, we come together, we practice together, we listen to Marcelu's teaching, We reflect on it, we discuss it, discuss over breaks and practice again. And then when somebody of us has a new insight or uh, progresses in a way, let's say has really an immediate health impact, or over days, some have impact, improving the health really is visible. Then it has an impact on the trust and confidence of each practitioner in the chi field, of course. So a little bit like, oh, if he can improve, then I can improve. If he can do it, I can do it. And we did once an experiment with, for example, magnetizing needles. And the needles really, everybody had the same situation. But then if somebody started to magnetize it, then it influences the other and say, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. The same like bending the spoons. We also had that experiment in a group environment. And then, if you watch your neighbor and the neighbor can do it, and then you get also this idea, oh, he's a normal human or she's a normal human being, then I can do it. So it's a bit like this. And one really which comes into my mind, a really uplifting, inspiring, um, impactful experience where the whole group was lifted and everybody grew in confidence and trust and joy also, was when we witnessed once in a 10 days holistic health retreat environment that somebody suffering from sincere Parkinson symptoms could not walk without a device, could also not really walk a long distance, not running. uh, Maybe after a week, seventh or eighth day class, and ran without the device in circles, by himself. Nobody needed to help him, hold him. So that obviously has a big impact. So it actually happens all the time that in group environments, we inspire each other if we are brave enough to show our progress. Sometimes I notice that people, write me an email maybe after, let's say we meet online. As you know, we do that every month. We meet for the free healing Wednesday. And after the session, Master Leo always asks for feedback. And some are courageous enough to share it online, others write into the chat. And sometimes the next day, I get an email of somebody having a big, big insight or a big jump, quantum leap, you could even say, in progress. Then, of course, this is amazing, and if shared, if we are really open up, we can share this. It's not, it's really inspiring others. Our sharing is having a great impact on others. Then it magnifies. Yeah. So I would say, sharing your progress is magnifying and helping others to progress as well. So it has a big impact.